I'm the Ibiza Final Boss, Jack here. Get to know us. Well, today, Jack, Ibiza Final Boss, we are going to get to know you. He's the young man whose unique look, vibe, and quintessential English party island energy has taken social media by storm over the last 10 days. Now, 2 weeks ago, no one had heard of this guy. Now, everyone I speak to knows who I'm talking about when I ask them about the Ibiza Final Boss. Since he's exploded into our feeds, Jack's released his own dance track, partied with celebrity DJs, and flown on private jets with his Geordie squatter mates. Now, don't worry if you've been living under a rock. We'll break down who Jack is and how he's won the heart of the internet practically overnight. Today on Don't Praise the Machine, myself and my co-host John want to explore what makes his viral moments so unique and what it reveals once again about the lightning speed of going from complete unknown to overnight celebrity in 2025. What are the potential commercial opportunities for Jack? And we'll look at a common theme on the show. How do you navigate this type of instant fame based on the internet having a little bit of a laugh at you, but also how this particular moment feels a little different from the typical widely mocked internet celebrity phenomenon. Now, at first glance, John, the Ibiza Final Boss seems destined to be a flash in the pan trend that Jack needs to capitalize on rapidly or risk fading into obscurity without securing the bag. But can a deft hand and perhaps a little bit of skill from Jack manage such a career well past its initial hype point? Let's find out. And then I swoop to the left to talk to you, John, like you're my guest on the on the panel. John, I sent you Jack K, the Ibiza Final Boss, this week.
I'm more of an Ibiza NPC, I think. Just
Ibiza.
Like,
he's the Ibiza NPC.
standing in the corner, sort of half-heartedly reaching for the lasers in a repetitive fashion. And I've only got a few key phrases that I keep repeating. Having a good night.
Having a good... Hey, what's going on? What's happening, mate? Hey, mate, what you doing, mate? What you doing, mate? That was always the Grand Theft Auto Mexican gang guys. What you doing, mate? Hey, mate, what you doing, mate?
And then if you start punching me, hey.
So, John, what have you seen of the Ibiza Final Boss, Jack K? And as the everyman on the street of the show, because I'm the one who's getting brain rotted over here. You're the one with the beautiful daughter and the law degrees on the wall, and I'm the brain rotted club freak who's going, have you seen Ibiza Final Boss? And you're like, man, I have a healthy, loving family that I got to take care of. I don't have time for this bullshit here.
I definitely, I'm ashamed to say I do find time for it. Usually when my daughter's having a little nap, I'll just be curiously Googling Ibiza Final Boss. And that's what I did. That's what I did today. Again, I've been looking at him a couple of times over the last little while because I just can't get enough of that bowl. I love the, I love the, what AFL commentator Dennis Cometti would have called a centimetre perfect bowl cut. and yeah, I just am really here for it. So what I've seen is basically a man on a plane who looked very much like...
So the first thing you saw was him on a plane?
I think I saw a still of him on a plane with a headline from, probably from the Daily Mail or somewhere like that saying, "Who is Ibiza Final Boss Jack K?" And I looked at this man, and he had a very kind of strange haircut and a kind of slightly square face. He looked as a lot of British people do. So in my view, British people, you can either see them as, you can distinguish between your kind of Norman French or your Vikings or your kind of Anglo-Saxons, and Jack's definitely a kind of Anglo-Saxon. You can imagine him in like the 10th century or the 9th century in the UK, somebody who looked exactly like him, carrying a pike into battle or something.
Yeah, it's been called the Battle of Hastings haircut. That's what people are calling it as well.
Yeah, okay. So Yeah, he's got that real kind of, looks like, he could be a cousin of Henry VIII or something. Quite a distinctive looking guy. And he sort of is kicking off on the plane, being one of the typical kind of lads on his way to Ibiza. Kind of, probably the bane of Ryanair hostesses who draw straws to not do the Ibiza track. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but yeah, I mean, they're obviously very familiar with him. And then I don't know exactly what happened. Maybe you can talk me through it.
This is great.
That led to, as I understand it, some clubs in Ibiza going, Jack, we love your energy. We've check your DMs, and now, cut to him. I see him like DJing on the decks, and I saw him with, is it Bonnie Blue? Let me see.
Yeah,
it is Bonnie Blue. I saw him meeting Bonnie Blue, who's a kind of very sex positive woman. She's about as sex positive as a human being can get.
There's definitely a Bonnie Blue. I mean, we did our OnlyFans episode, but there's got to be a Bonnie Blue episode coming up, because I just love that Bonnie Blue just pushed sex positivity to a point where a whole lot of people just had to go, oh, I guess there is a limit to sex positivity.
This is like 100% proof sex positivity, and I can't handle it.
Quadruple distilled sex positivity and make me feel real yucky.
Exactly.
So John, if you'd like, maybe what I can do is, I love that you can play the you're the Michael Barbaro. You're the Barbaro of the Dome.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I'm the straight man here who's like, oh yeah, I've seen something about this on the internet.
Oh yeah, okay. Kandahar, you don't say. All right, it's Michael Barbaro. So this is what happened. A video was posted from clothing label, and also I think they do club nights as to 06 West Ibiza on August the 3rd. And the video was showing a day party of a club in Ibiza, open air, classic kind of beachy vibes.
Yeah.
And the video looked almost like it was being shot by somebody who was sat in a raised position, like almost like a kind of, they might have been some tiered seating or something.
Right.
The person being filmed, the focus of the video doesn't know they're being filmed. And the video shows a man with a very distinct bowl haircut style.
Yeah.
An incredibly manicured, short, sort of almost, but not quite, like pencil-y beard with the whole beard, but also the kind of goatee moustache, all linked up.
Yeah,
looking beautiful. Gold chain, gold rimmed sunglasses, gleaming white open brackets, potentially fake closed brackets, teeth, muscles, tattoos. He was also wearing, I'll get to this later.
Skin the color of overcooked chicken. And he was wearing, and I'll get to this later, Swiss running brand, On Running. He has an On Running singlet on, and I think maybe even shorts as well. And the Instagram account 06 West captioned the video. Does anyone know? I should also mention that he's dancing in the video in a kind of very masculine sort of. He's got a pink cup in his hand. It's certainly not a kind of flamboyant ballroom dance. He's doing your kind of masculine, like this is pure masculinity, holding the cup, kind of giving a few little pumps, but he's absolutely loving the music. You really get a sense this guy's having a good time in the video. Yeah.
And the caption was, does anybody know this absolute legend? Because we've got 2 free guest lists with his name on it.
Yeah.
And I think for everybody, we should just show the video. So this now has 26 million views as of my last check. This is the original video, John. Original pirate material. Lock down your aerial. Has it come to the Ibiza Final Boss, Jack K? Yes, it has.
Here we go. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's just that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it again.
So it's only 7 seconds.
7 seconds.
He looks like a Muppet, like not in a pejorative way, like a literal Muppet.
It's so funny because it's 7 seconds, but we live in this beautiful age of the internet where sometimes there's a video. Sometimes there's a video. If I can just do my Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Where just without the poster having any idea, they've posted something that just has it's like a recipe that they did it. They just threw a bunch of ingredients.
Yeah.
In. They thought, oh, this is like these ingredients are fine, I guess. This guy looks like he's an absolute legend. I'll throw a couple ingredients in. I'm shooting from the rafters. It's a day party where the context is Ibiza. He's got a funny haircut. Well, it's just a few simple ingredients. Unbeknownst to the poster, they were making the most delicious, delectable viral video recipe for a meal that you ever did eat down your gullet. And all the ingredients were there for it to absolutely explode. And so
I'd say the thing that you didn't cover in that very good description was the fact that it's kind of sparsely. It's not like a dense crowd full of similar characters. He seems to be just like in his own space and very much in his own world, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
he doesn't. He's not with his. There's no friends around him that you can see. He's by himself. He looks like he's having a great time. Or perhaps it's sort of. You could almost also say he's almost trying to look like he is having a good time, but he's also doing kind of dance. Like, it's like I'm not uncomfortable by the fact that like I look like this and nobody's around me. I'm having a great time. And so
exactly.
And so I think why it worked is that everybody on earth now on social media has a stereotypical idea of what an English party lad is particularly on these like European island, Spanish island holidays. Like people, it was sort of, I think, pushed out more to the general public through shows like, I mean, obviously it's a very kind of Northern English thing, and also it's it's like an Essex thing as well, which is much closer to London. So you've got this very English masculine identity, but also some of it is also like the English female identity as well, where you have essentially like working class people who like to kind of show their status in the group with like fake tan, fake teeth, muscles for men, maybe fake boobs for women, tattoos. There's like distinct short haircuts for men as well in this world. Heavy accents.
Heavy
Botox, heavy accents. Flashy jewelry. It's over the top. It's gaudy. Yeah. So he appears.
20 years ago, it would have been chavs, and now it's kind of
exactly. There's a bit of a. We're going to come to chavs as well, right, John. Okay. I've not been fucking sleeping. I don't know if you see these bags under my eyes. The research on this was so deep that I didn't have a sleep last night. And along with so. So as soon as the video starts, like everyone goes, I know this guy, because people have seen. There's been lots and lots of videos on social media over the last years where people have gone, oh look, it's Northern people with their Northern. I actually think that a lot of Americans just think now that is like London as well, which is not like a particularly London thing. And then of course the context is perfect because it's like Ibiza, and it's like this is everybody's idea of what the type of man that is in Ibiza. Yeah. And so I think what happened was that somebody posted on the video, like I think the comments just started flooding with, this is the Ibiza Final Boss. Right. And perhaps we can go there as well. John, my mum is sitting there, Marie, and she's going, what the hell is actually, my mum probably would know because she's a very, very loving mother that bought us all the Nintendo systems that we ever asked for. So she probably does know what it is. But for a person who's not familiar with video games. Maybe you could say what a final boss is.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good point. I did think about as an element of what's going on in this viral phenomenon is the kind of crisp phrase Ibiza Final Boss and what it implies, and the
instant branding
for
him.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. That can just be his thing, and it is his thing. He's now on like literal kind of headline, as Ibiza Final Boss, and everyone knows who that is. But of course, it taps into everyone knowing what a final boss is, which is this thing where like a kind of a classic game, like let's say Mario Brothers, you would have a level, and at the end of the level, it would traditionally end with you fighting the final boss, and perhaps at the end of the game, you would find a final boss, and it would be a particularly hard kind of ultimate opponent who perhaps kind of is everything about that level rolled together. So if you're in the ocean and there's like lots of mini sharks in a level of Mario Brothers, let's say, then the final boss will be like a giant super shark or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of following on with the theme. So it implies that this guy is like the platonic essence, I would say platonic essence. That's why my videos don't go viral, of an Ibiza man, of a kind of Geordie Ibiza enthusiast. And that's what it basically means, is like this guy is like the ultimate Ibiza personification of like a certain kind of Ibiza attendee. And I'm sure Marie already knows that, because she would have said to you many times over the 90s, it's dinner time, and you'd say, I'm trying to get the final boss. And she would have said,
she'd rip the controller out of my hand, and she'd say, what kind of weak as piss son of mine can't even defeat a Bowser? She'd whip the control pad out of my hand and say, you're absolute disgrace to this family that you can't beat. Can't beat Shang Tsung, Goro. Every time she said, yesterday was Shang Tsung, you can't beat. Then it was M. Bison, you couldn't beat. You disgrace this family.
Exactly.
There's some of the favorite final bosses that have been bested in the Holland household over the years. What was the name of? I forget the name of the Zelda.
Why can't you even defeat E Honda? Look at him; he's really out of shape.
Forget final boss. You can't even beat E Honda in his wet bathroom. Why are you fighting him? You just look at you slipping all over the place. He's doing his fast hands at you.
Yeah,
he's fighting you in a towel.
Dalsim looks 50 years old. Why can't you beat him?
Why can't you beat a malnourished Indian street person? That's what my mother said. So why did this really explode? Of course, you've got the idea of a stereotypical English party lad. And I think this is the thing. It's a uniquely English thing that you look at this person and they're not American. I think so much of the things in the world these days, particularly in the English-speaking world, you think it's all sort of rolled together. But this thing of like the party island lad,
it's true,
who's just out there from Newcastle or from Essex, having a great time. Americans just looked at this and they said, yeah, this is absolutely it. Now, the Mirror spoke to PR expert Maya Riaz, and they told the Mirror why people love the Ibiza Final Boss. He's got the holy trinity of viral success,
right?
Maya said. He's relatable.
Yeah.
He's popped up at the right time. I don't quite know what that means, but he's popped up at the right time apparently, and he's unintentionally
better than 2,000 years ago. Like not necessarily.
Yeah, I think that's what she meant. Maybe she meant if he existed during the dinosaurs, they wouldn't be able to comprehend
well, like
his value.
The Qing dynasty, they would have just been like, "The fuck is this?"
But I'm feeling this song that he's really no. I'm feeling this song he's really dancing to.
Yeah.
So and he's unintentionally hilarious. Now, this is something that I really wanted to touch on with you, John, because as you know, the number one theme of the show that we bring, what no other podcasts do, is we explore the phenomenon of the widely mocked and how it influences our world these days. And there is something about him that is widely mocked, but there is also something about him that, it's funny, as soon as I saw the video, I got a sense that he would not be upset that this was happening. And sure enough, he doesn't appear to be. And that kind of nasty sting that is in the that comes with being widely mocked. So I'm thinking about Ray Gun. I'm thinking about the Island Boys, these kinds of things. There's something different here. And I wanted to ask you if you have a sense of what that is, because Ibiza Final Boss, it is like he's a kind of lower class person that I mean, I don't know if class kind of plays into it, but
he's, he's kind of ridiculous.
Like, he's ridiculous.
He does look, in my opinion, and I mean no disrespect. Well, perhaps I don't mean no disrespect. I mean as little disrespect as I can have to make this point. He does look. I don't mean any excess disrespect, but he means he does look silly, and and that's obviously part of it. You know, and it's kind of, I mean, he's the Ibiza Final Boss because he has the traits of these kind of Ibiza, as you say, like, you know, British party going lads and lasses, but he has it kind of turned up to 11. So he's a bit kind of a cartoonish looking sort of figure.
Yeah.
But you do sense, I certainly sensed from what I'd seen, I had a look at his Instagram, that he wasn't kind of going, you know, lay off. He was like, I am absolutely the
he's all
Final
in.
Boss. Yeah, he's like
he took it straight. The next day, I think he posted. I think maybe even within hours of him realizing that it was going viral, he made that video of him. I'm sure I have it here, John. This is so very soon after he, very soon started going viral. That's when he posted this video of himself leaning into the camera and going, "I'm Jack K. I'm the Ibiza Final Boss. Jack K. Get to know us." Like really quickly. Okay. And I will also just point out one thing that I've noticed, which I don't know if he had the sense to do this or if somebody told him. It seems to have happened so quickly that his celebrity exploded. I don't even think he got management to tell him to do this, but he has done this thing, which is fucking genius, is that he has had the glasses, the haircut, the chains, the outfit in every single video that I've seen of him since. So there's no video of him where he's, as far as I've seen, where he goes, "Oh, here's me without the glasses. Here's me with my hair a bit different." He's just exactly the same, he's instantly recognizable in down on every video that he posts of himself, which is exactly what a branding management team would tell him to do straight away.
Yeah, 100%.
Don't let anybody see your eyes. Wear the same fucking glasses. Don't you dare lose that gold chain.
Yeah, totally. And I think what does make it different is that what he's doing is not kind of meant to be something where you're entirely serious. It's meant to be a bit kind of clownish, that you get dressed up to the nines, you look kind of deliberately look over the top, and you behave in an over the top way because you're at Ibiza. That's what it's about. It's about excess. It's about like flamboyance. And so if he's kind of regarded as looking a bit silly, he can be like, well, yeah, I mean, we're having a party. Like I'm not, it's not as though he turned up to a job interview looking like that and people were like, what the fuck are you doing?
But he would have thought that he looked cool and high status to his group, to his in group. That is how you signal status.
He wouldn't have said, give me a bowl cut for a joke.
That's right.
Which is somehow, the only scenario in which I'm getting a bowl cut is basically I'm like I just want to surprise Al on the next episode.
He hasn't gone, give me fake turkey teeth and a bowl cut and a little pencil beard because I want to look absolutely fucking ridiculous in front of all my mates. That's not what he's doing.
I'm going to a Ibiza themed joke party.
That's it. Yeah.
With all my Cambridge friends, you know.
Yeah. Of course, as well, John. Like straight away now, you can go on Amazon and there are Ibiza Final Boss costumes. They just repurposed Beatles wigs and like added them to the and because it's just all it is something that looks like a bowl cut, glasses, chain, and maybe a crayon to draw the beard on, maybe a little black, maybe a cheap black singlet, and you're him. Simple.
Do you think there are like factories in China where they've just got some kid who's got a marketing degree and he's just really on the ball and he says, turn the machines off and tweak them to be producing these things, and then they turn them back on. Ibiza Final Boss costumes. Yeah,
turn off the ray gun machines or refit the ray gun machines. Have them stop them printing out green tracksuits and caps. It's time for gold chains, glasses, fake teeth, and a bowl cut. But he's on board. He is also the other reason I think it works is because everybody understands that he's working class. So like people have this sort of inherent feeling that they want the underdog to succeed. And so you kind of know straight away that this, you know, you assume this guy's not like loaded, you know, this guy's not. He's not from you don't assume this person is from like a privileged background. So you think, okay, this is just a guy who probably works pretty hard 9 to 5, probably has a pretty simple life. Yeah. And suddenly he has had this opportunity put at his feet. And he seemed, even though we don't know anything about him really, he just kind of seems like a good time guy that just wants to have a dance in Ibiza, and we want the best for him. So
we want the best
we're
for
just
him.
we're just gonna keep supporting him. And of course he's in on it, but yeah, there just are these extra elements that mean, although he is, and perhaps mocked isn't even the right word. Perhaps there's another word, but perhaps mocked is the right word.
I don't know. Yeah, it's mocked is maybe too strong because people would probably
they're not like fuck this guy. They were with Ray Gun. They were like,
they're
oh
smirking.
My god,
they're smirking lovingly at him. He's kind of endearingly mocked, and I guess that's the difference, isn't it?
Maybe this is what we have to add a column to on our Excel sheet.
Yeah,
the endearingly mocked, the hall of endearing, the endearing.
Exactly.
I feel like almost Tay Zonday is like even though Tay probably, FYI, Tay Zonday is Chocolate Rain from YouTube from like 15 years ago. There is a column for the endearingly mocked.
Exactly. It's like, you know, some people are being kind of given an atomic wedgie in the toilets, and some people are just having their hair tousled by the school bully.
Having their Battle of Hastings bowl cut tussled by the school bully that is the international internet.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly, the 1 billion strong school bully that scours the internet. But it's true. It's a different thing from the Island Boys where people are going, "Who the fuck are these idiots?"
Yeah,
or even Reagan.
And they seem, the Island Boys seemed unlikable. They were just like, they were kind of like, "Fuck you. We're gonna have fun at everybody's expense. We're just like gonna flash cash and we're just flash cash trash." And everybody went, "We are going to keep laughing at you. We're loving laughing at you. And we hope we don't give a shit if you get hit by a bus. We don't fucking care about you at all, Island Boys." Exactly. That was the kind of feeling of the Island Boys. But John, what kind of opportunities are there now? What kind of opportunities have we got for Jack Keir, the Ibiza Final Boss? So straight away, he's hooked up with management. I believe it's the same management that hosts all of the Love Island contestants, which is like perfect. Yeah. So straight away, I mean, this just writes.
Imagine if that was your job, just like you're like, yeah, he's definitely one of my clients.
I'm a trash fisherman.
Exactly. just a kind of Essex trash magnet.
So straight away, what do you got? The first thing that jumped to my mind, club appearances. Fucking promote your club night as, I'm sure this is happening already. Come to Club X tonight in whatever town in the UK or fucking internationally now.
Yeah.
Because guess what? guess who's going to make an appearance? It's the Ibiza Final Boss. We'll get him up on stage. He looks exactly like you expect him to look. He's gonna. There's a VIP ticket that you can get for $100, and you get to come in, shake hands, meet and greet, photograph. Imagine the social media clout. Post your photograph with the Ibiza Final Boss.
Move over, Peter Andre. We've got the Ibiza Final Boss.
We've got the Ibiza Final Boss. Yeah. Now, I don't know if he can DJ, but it's not that hard these days. And so
I've seen him doing some, I think.
Okay.
And it wasn't really clear, it wasn't clear if he had, to me anyway, if he had any kind of level of skill or if he was just kind of doing a bit of hot buttoning or whatever they call it.
Hot knobbing.
Hot knobbing. That's another moment where I'm like,
hot knobbing on the EQs.
What do they call it?
What do they call Wiki Mix?
That's right. But he was doing a bit of he'd been paid, I think, to do a set, and he was, just playing kind of real sort of Ibiza. It was like he's just basically gone Spotify top 100 Ibiza songs. It sounded like that, basically.
There's another interesting thing that's happening, John, is that there's a lot of very convincing AI videos of him that have been posted. So I feel like we need a fucking research team now, because I saw a couple of videos of him where I was like, this AI is getting mad, because some of it was like fooling me, and I was going, whoa, this is pretty great.
You're like,
pretty convincing, should I say?
Why is he shaking hands with Zelensky? That doesn't seem right.
I was saying, why is he doing an outdoor day party rave with Abraham Lincoln? How's that happening? And so you've got club appearances. Like, if he wants to do a bit of DJing, he could command insane fees, because people will pay like silly money to go to a DJ set of Ibiza Final Boss for sure. Then you just got like corporate appearances, which, he'd be a bit more sort of beclowned in those, because that'd be like wealthy people being, hey, look who we've got. It's that silly man. It's that silly working class man.
It's true. Although you can imagine, like, if you were in a kind of Slough call center or something, and your boss was like, guys, it's you've been working hard this quarter. You've exceeded your numbers. A lot of people now have flammable cladding that didn't have flammable cladding 3 months ago. So we're going to go out to the local club, and it's going to be Ibiza Final Boss, and people they would fucking eat that up.
Mate, they fucking would. Then we've got TV shows. So, like, you could just do appearances on, you could just like do guest spots on, they could wheel him out on various TV shows and just go, look, we've got to be the Final Boss here for a minute. And then, of course, the last one, the big one, is endorsements. And this is a very interesting place indeed. Now, I looked at a couple of Instagram posts that he has made himself, just saying, here I am in a private jet. Here I am dancing behind superstar DJ Solomon on stage. And one of them, the top comment, is from the condom brand Durex, and it just says, check your DMs. So Durex condoms are trying to collab with him. That's just the one I could see publicly. So
that's
obviously
great.
He would be getting insane endorsement fees right now from all these brands that want to partner with him, that think he has the kind of energy that we think is, and the kind of eyeballs that we think is going to help us shift whatever product we have. Maybe you're selling Da Vinci veneers. Maybe you're trying to shift some kind of gym supplement or something like that. But the one that jumped out at me straight away, which then made me go, I wonder how they're going to play this, is On Running, the Swiss running shoe brand On. They are the brand of clothing that he's wearing, not only in the video in black, but then there's subsequent posts of him on social media where he has a white On Running singlet. Now, On Running is a brand that they started in 2010, I believe. And you might say that their image is kind of clean, minimal, kind of like more performance lifestyle, healthy, elite, basically not like Newcastle working class Ibiza Final Boss, kind of the opposite of that. I mean, look, he's healthy, that's great, but just to give you a sense of who On's spokespeople are, their main spokesperson is Roger Federer.
Okay.
So that's the kind of, it's like, look at us, it's so clean and elite.
Swiss
that's on
and
running.
Precise.
It's Swiss and precise. It's like if you took a watch and you put it into a shoe, that's what we've got. And in fact, it's even become adopted by the tech finance crowd in the US, particularly, as the unofficial uniform of success is on running.
So they would be having some complicated discussions with their team.
Very complicated discussions is happening at On right now. And there was a post that I found from an Instagram account, I think, that follows trends or fashion, and they said, does On know that they're basically the go-to brand in Ibiza right now? They're having a moment. And then they showed all these stills of Jack K wearing On running gear. And then the first comment on the post that was really blowing up from that particular Instagram account was from On, the brand. And it said, "Oh, we know. We are aware." So they're publicly announcing in that post, yes, we know that he's wearing our gear. Yeah. But the question is this something they want to capitalize on?
Yeah, because it could mean, it's a bit like Tommy Hilfiger or these. I mean, there's plenty of fashion brands that have gone, we're happy to be associated with a certain type of person who wasn't our original target market. But obviously there's a trade-off there, because you're like, well, now it's kind of, is this a kind of dash for cash that's maybe good in the short term for us and our shareholders, but will lead to a loss of longevity in the brand, because we've basically pinned our colors to kind of nukey ravers, and when they get sick of it, or to just like, kind of we're a different thing. We're like a rave brand or whatever. We're a party brand, and now we've got to kind of accept that, get as much out of it as we can, and maybe like lose some kind of prestige or dignity or something. I don't know.
I had this very discussion on a very Ibiza, at a somewhat Ibiza Final Boss location last weekend. I was with my dear friend James, who has been temporarily housed in a hotel, which is a classic like UK thing these days, temporary hotel housing. But in this case, it wasn't an immigrant. It was James Osborne, my dear friend, whose actual home has been going under repairs for a couple of years, and so he's been put in this hotel in London that has a rooftop pool, and the weather was really lovely last weekend, and so James invited me and we had a bit of a swim. And in fact, this Ibiza Final Boss episode was a recommendation from James during this conversation, because he said this is very DPTM, and I said, what do you think, James? Because he's wearing all this On gear. Do you think that On should lean into it and do a campaign with him at the risk of alienating their US tech elite audience that don't want to be associated with Newcastle construction people? And then James reminded me of what happened with the Burberry cap in the late 90s and 2000s, which became associated with the derogatory term chav and chav culture, because in the late 90s and early 2000s, Burberry had this very distinctive beige check pattern, and it was on a particular cap. And then suddenly this, what were being called chavs, which is sort of pejorative term for like working class youth who were wearing like flashy designer fashion and stuff like that. And it was often linked to the cap became associated with them and also with antisocial behavior. And so they really dialed back production of the caps. I did a little bit of research. It doesn't look like they discontinued it entirely. But there was clearly a move by Burberry to go, this is not what, yes, we're selling a lot of these caps. Yes, we're selling our clothes to these people.
Yeah.
But we want to sort of wheel this back a little bit because we think in the long term, this is not the kind of look that we want for Burberry. I mean, we don't want to be associated with antisocial behavior, but also it's going, this is not our client. This is not our ICP. We're trying to get somebody else. And if our ICP sees this type of person wearing it, they are not going to want to be associated with that, and we are fucked.
Yeah. I mean, that's another kind of fascinating issue, which a lot of people have talked about, is this dance that high-end fashion labels do with kind of streetwear and also knockoffs where, in places like Harlem where people have sold versions of, say, like Gucci or Louis Vuitton accessories and clothing, and they've fucked around with the design and kind of made it more edgy and more street. And then the brand has kind of reappropriated those knockoffs, essentially kind of incorporating that adaptation into what the brand is. But it's like, but then they don't want to be like too associated with that to the exclusion of others, because then they'll lose their status as a kind of high-end fashion label and just become like a streetwear fashion label that maybe has a different kind of market and potentially less earning potential over the long term. So Jack Kay, I mean, he's not an obvious bedfellow with a Swiss tennis player, is he? He's not that kind of persona. He's not a Federer.
He doesn't have a runner's build. Maybe he runs, but he looks pretty top heavy, old Jack, which is not typically not great for slicing your PB when you're out on the street. But the thing is that On is not quite big enough yet and is not established enough because it's under 15 years old. It's really just had this one path, this one lane for its brand. Whereas older brands like Nike have managed to be both street and elite. So you've got somebody like Kipchoge who's wearing, Nike Vaporflies when he wins marathons. Yeah. But then you've got kids in the US listening to hip hop music and wearing Jordans and all manner of other Nike branded clothing and accessories. So Nike's like so massive and has been around for so long that they have different lanes that they kind of push their products to, and everybody just goes, oh yeah, it's cool. Like I can be an elite tech bro and wear a certain style of Nike, and people will go, oh yeah, cool. And then at the same time, there's been a triple homicide committed by somebody in Nikes as well, and it's just fine. Everybody's just like everybody's wearing Nikes. It doesn't matter.
They go into the Nike store going, yeah, I'm more of your kind of thug Nike purchaser. So here's my section.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's and then you've got kind of there's the in between points. You've sort of got. And then Nike's like high fashion. You've got basketball players that will wear certain expensive, rare Nike high tops and various types of Jordans.
It's true. Yeah, it's got
like that.
It's got a real breadth in that sense. It's true. Whereas if you're like, new, then you have to go, well, we've got to kind of establish what we are before we can diversify. But also B, you're not like, maybe this is your best chance. Like maybe if you don't take the Jack Kay route, then you're just going to fade into obscurity, and people will say, man, we should have rode the K train.
I mean, in the case of On, they're very much on the up and up. So like this is a discussion. It's like we're doing really well. Our brand is growing and growing and growing. But I think the discussion will be, which I think is really interesting, is they will be saying, maybe we don't do it right now, but clearly he's wearing our gear. Like, why did he even know? Like, because when I saw him in On, I was like, why is he wearing On? I've never seen anybody who's not from this lane that they push their stuff to really getting into this. And he's wearing, I think, like I said, he's wearing both the top and the shorts. And so I was just like, why is Jack Kay wearing On? And so maybe it is the case that there are more people like Jack from different communities and different backgrounds that are now wearing On. And so the question for On is, can we now open up a second lane without sort of tarnishing our elite Roger Federer lane? Can we open a kind of On street lane? Because it could be a massive cash cow and brand opportunity. It could be a brand opportunity for them to get a kind of street credibility that they totally lack. Nobody thinks like On's a sort of cool street brand. It's a sort of beautiful, sleek, elite Swiss brand. And so, I mean, this is what we're going to watch here at Don't Praise the Machine. Is Jack K the opening of On? Are you going to see On in the next SoundCloud rappers who are touting Uzis on the streets of Chicago? Are they going to just all be wearing On gear, talking about like, yes, I slip on my Ons, and then I go down to the trap house and I just mow everyone down, and then I check in on my prostitutes and I make sure that they're earning money for daddy, and then I slip on. With my On, and then and I'm always dressed in nothing but On.
It's true. It's true. It's a delicate dance. I mean, something similar happened with, well, not that similar, with Chavs and Jägermeister, which was a kind of
really.
That became a very London
specifically Chavs and Jägermeister.
Not specifically Chavs, perhaps, but I think Jägermeister was like, we have always been a kind of, staid sort of aperitif that was a bit herbaceous and gross, and maybe like old men and old ladies would drink it.
Yes.
And then they were like, and then suddenly you'd go to like a house party and people would have like a Jaeger bomb machine.
Absolutely.
And, and they were like, well, yeah, we need to, like, they obviously were like, well, yeah, the kind of old, the sort of octogenarian German market isn't that profitable. So maybe we should expand. Maybe we should embrace just like being a kind of dirty party drink. And they did. And I don't know, then as a result, they probably, like, I don't have Jägermeister in my house because I associate it with a certain age and time. So they took the short cash grab route, but it was probably much more money than they would have.
But I don't think it is short. I think they're still.
Are they still?
I think they're still a huge like party brand because of that. And you're right, John. It's a dusty old German like liqueur brand. Jaeger, by the way, is German. It's the German word for hunter. So
Hunter, Master Hunter.
Yeah, exactly. And so you would go and shoot a bunch of deer and then have a few little nips of that. But that's a pretty...
Then you'd ferment the deer into a delicious aperitif. It's
exactly. And then you would...
Fermented deer blood.
And then you would say, oh, let's just go pop down to the Lidl and pick up 40 cans of Red Bull. We're going to have a great night together.
Exactly. Imagine that meeting. Just the kind of... just these kind of... Bavarian Nazi sympathizers meeting with Red Bull executives and saying, "Now our two brands have a glorious future."
we must. I mean, we don't have time to do it now, but we should look up how that marriage happened because Red Bull is a combination of. I mean, do you know the Red Bulls? The Red Bull story is. Red Bull was a Thai, I believe it was a Thai energy drink that had been around for years. It was a very strong, viscous liquid that I don't even think was carbonated, which came in a small brown bottle, almost like a medicinal bottle. The story goes, which I'm sure, has been embellished because we all need stories for our brand. So the Red Bull story goes, this Austrian executive, I think he was in Formula One or something. Yeah. And he went to Thailand, got absolutely rat-assed, woke up with the world's worst hangover. Yeah. And some Thai person was like, don't worry about that, mate. In Bangkok, we got you sorted. And they gave him a little bottle of Red Bull. He sipped it and said, fucking hell, I feel like $1 million. Then he went back to Vienna and they reformulated it into a more palatable taste and I think added carbonation and obviously cool branding. And then they called the Thais and said, hey, can we go 50-50 or 49-51? And the Thais were like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then they partnered and then that's the birth of Red Bull. So it could actually be two German-speaking people that came together. The Austrians and the Germans
there you go.
had an Austro-German meeting and said, let's mix this dusty old. I mean, what a weird sort of confluence of events where you have this. Let's mix this dusty old German hunter's liqueur with this sort of with this turbo Thai drug drink, and let's get a whole bunch of kids in Australia making terrible decisions.
Exactly, just being off their faces but really stimulated. That's right.
Let's make it so that people get really, really drunk, but they don't get the fatigue that comes from being drunk that would make you typically go home and not make a terrible decision.
And there would be, and then, let's also run events where adrenaline-seeking people will make different decisions that are also terrible and also end in their deaths. I mean, there would be people. There would be people lying in crumpled heaps at backyard parties, just as there would be people lying in crumpled heaps in wingsuits, and they'll both have Red Bull on them. What's the Red Bull death toll? I wonder if anyone's worked.
Yeah, we should look that up actually, because it is definitely a thing, and they would know that because they would know even going into it with their lawyers. They'd go, well, how many deaths of the people that we sponsor can we tolerate before we go? Oh, this is pretty. There's too many now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's too much. So, John, we're going to keep an eye on Jack Cayley be the final boss because it's always interesting. We'll have to add him to our list of where are they nows because that ray gun episode has to come up again soon as well. Let me just check back in on the gun.
Checking in with the gun. Who, as we say, I mean that's a kind of interesting distinction because she is perhaps the Australian breakdancing final boss, but only in the sense that there will never be another person to come after her because of how much she's damaged the sport.
I'm the Australian breakdancing final boss. Do you want to get to know me? No, absolutely not, Rachel.
Definitely not, thanks. You seem really unlikable, but thanks.
You seem very unlikable.
So thanks very much, Al. That was a fascinating deep dive. I didn't know.
Yeah, thanks, James, for the suggestion.
Yeah, and I didn't know when I saw that nanometer precise bowl cut that I would be entering into a discussion of the way that fame arises in the modern culture, the way that marketeers understand these things, and the exciting question of what happens next to a humble man from Newcastle. He's worked hard, he's played hard, and now he's on the up and up, and I'm rooting for him.
Jack, we've loved getting to know you today on Don't Praise the Machine, and we can't wait to see you next week.
The podcast.
Get the noise.